Hello once again. Alright, we're going to cover a couple more things and then you'll have to finish out the example. So go ahead and look at the completed version because that's the one you'll be recreating. I've made my bowling ball, so you'll need to make a bowling ball. And I've just drawn a line to represent the ground. They're each on their own layer. And I've made this a symbol by selecting the artwork and pressing F8. So we've got our requirements for animation. It's on its own layer by itself. It's a symbol. So I'm going to move that to its beginning location, and I just want it to roll across the screen from stage left to stage right. Going to get some frames. And just going to select each layer and press F5. So frame 40 and F5, and that'll increase the amount of time that these objects are displayed. I'm going to click into layer 1 as I'm animating the bowling ball. And right click or control click or go up to insert motion tween in the main timeline, or the main menu, and I've got a tween. So now I just need to move this to a new location, or the display head, and say I want this on frame 35, I want this bowling ball to the right. And it's animating. So we'll test that. Apple return. Worked, but the bowling ball doesn't look very animated. It looks like it's just skidding across. So let's go ahead and add one more property to that. Move it to the next location, frame 35. Click the bowling ball. And I want to go to Window, Transform. It's going to give me a few more properties. The one I wanted to choose is Rotate. So I want that to rotate 360 degrees. So I press return, and now it's rotating. Pretty easy. Let's take a look. So that looks a little more real. Now that that is working, I wanted to make mention of how you can change the pace of your animation just by clicking the edge of that motion tween and just dragging left or right. So that's going to speed up my animation, and it's moved my keyframes, those changes, proportionally. So now this is moving much faster. If I wanted it to move slower, I would just drag it further. So the longer the distance between here, the slower this is going to move. Notice my ground has disappeared, so I'm going to press F5. And now it's moving much slower. So you can adjust speed just by rolling over the end of that tween and just moving it right or left. Faster or slower. If you want to remove frames, if we take a look at this, it lasts a little longer past that animation. But if we want to shorten that, we have to remove some of these frames. Removing frames is as easy as it is to create them. You just need to roll over them, so I'm just going to click, hold, and drag over the end of that. And then instead of pressing F5, I'm going to press Shift F5, and that's going to delete those frames. So my animation won't last as long as it did, because I've gotten rid of those. If I wanted to add them, I just click any frame and then press F5, and then I've increased the length of that. So deleting, Shift F5, creating, F5. Once you've got that set up, Flash has a system of dividing up your main timeline to make animating different scenes easier. So we're going to take a look at the scene palette. That's Window, Other Panels, Scene. If I click that, notice it's banked here in this toolbar scene. And the first scene is titled Scene 1, so that's the one we're working on right now. I could create a new scene that just creates a blank one. But since I'm going to go ahead and use most of this for this next scene, I want to duplicate this scene. So I'm going to click the scene and then choose Duplicate Scene in the Scene palette. And that's given me Scene 1 copy. And I can rename this Scene 2, or if I wanted to give it a more specific name, I could. It doesn't go by number, it just goes by order. So if you click and drag and rearrange these, they'll play in the order that you've arranged them. So let's click to Scene 2 now. So we've duplicated that, and we've got a duplication of that Scene 1. And I just want to use the objects, not the animation itself. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the animation by clicking in that tween and either right clicking or control clicking and choose Remove Tween. And that got rid of that tween, that got rid of my keyframes. And I'm going to move this line. If you remember from the completed version, it rolls off the edge. So now I have my setup for my next animation, so it can roll off the edge of that. That's using scenes in a nutshell. So we've got Scene 1, rolls across. I duplicated that scene so I can set up my animation or set up the stage for my next animation. So that's it. Finish out the rest of the scene and then continue on past that. So make this bowling ball go on a little adventure.